Hello world, it's me again. It's the Don, the Senator of Smooth and Rule, coming to you live from the 7-5. Why? Cause we global, baby. Yeah. This is the Mansion in the Sky podcast, coming to you, offering you a pathway into current events, cutting edge technologies, and things of that nature. So, first thing first, we're going to start off with, the word of the day. The word of the day, nascent. Nascent. It's an adjective. It means coming or having recently come into existence. And it can be related to words such as nation, native, nature, and or innate. You dig? How do you use it in a sentence? Uh, Don Dre is working on his nascent podcast named Mansion in the Sky. Solo Dolo. Mr. Solo Dolo. Doing what he loves to do. Another way that you could use this word in a sentence would be when I guess Beyonce, whatever, was with Destiny's Child. She was working on her nascent career. And I'm probably not saying that all the way correct. I listened to it on the website one time and I was like, all right, I got it. And then, the camera got turned on and things get a little different when the camera turns on. And that's just how it is. But that's the word of the day. Nascent. You know, every day you got to be learning. Every day. Um, so we're going to go straight into the topic. Go straight into the topic of the day. Well, the first topic, which is welcome to teen court. Underage defendants facing first-time charges in Newport News can go before jury of their peers. When I found this article, I thought it was very interesting. Very, very interesting. And it's coming to us via Jessica Nolt from the Daily Press. So, you can always check, you got to go on the website to actually check when it was copyrighted and things of that nature. Oh, she got her number and yeah. So this is how you can make sure that those articles are factual and it's lit. So, rolling right into it. Teenagers who commit minor offenses in Newport News, once again, my neck of the woods, 7-5, live from the 7-5. Why? Because we global, baby. Yeah. Anyways, teenagers who commit minor offenses in Newport News may soon have the opportunity to go before a jury that's truly made up of their peers. That's because the jury will be comprised solely of middle and high school students. Newport News is launching a youth justice diversion program, commonly referred to as a youth court, to give young people a second chance to keep their records clean after select first-time offenses. So something like breaking windows, maybe stealing some Dorito chips or some hot fries or Arizona or Colt 45 2 zigzags at a corner store. Something like that. Under the Juvenile Delinquency Diversion Program, the teenager has to accept fault for the offense and parents or guardians must approve the teen's participation in the program. The program is intended for charges such as abusive language, some forms of vandalism, or minor driving offenses. So it doesn't even say anything about stealing. I was just assuming. You know what happens when you assume. Make an asshole out yourself. That's all right. I get called an asshole all the damn time. That's all right. You need somebody to hate on, you can hate on me. Hater, 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 hater. Anyways, it only applies to class 2 misdemeanors or lower, and it is not used for any offenses that may result in immediate detention. Mr. Jared Grimes of Newport News, who's the director of juvenile services, states, we want kids to have an opportunity to use their restorative justice model to go through the process and have the judgment of their peers, which we hope we will have an impact that really speaks to them and then never have a true record or spot on their record. The model exists in other states, but until recently, the Virginia Code didn't allow for it. Typical Virginia Commonwealth flag with woman with the titty hanging out. And typical. I mean, the flag don't got nothing to do with it, but it's just, I mean, Virginia's always late on trends, whether it be music, whether it be clothes, whether it be lingo, slang, what's hot, what's not, what's lit, what's turned, all of that. In the 2021 General Assembly session at Newport News request, Delegate Mike Mullen, Newport News, introduced legislation that would give municipalities the right to establish youth diversion programs that utilize teenage volunteers as lawyers, jurors, and other roles such as a clerk and bailiff. Once again, Mr. Grimes states this is a positive peer influence model. Teenagers sometimes look at us and say, they see people who are just there to judge them. People who don't see their point of view and who don't understand the pressures of them, on them. This program uses youth volunteers with the hope they'll be more relatable to the young person who committed the offense. Grimes said the intent is that the consequences will mean more because they're coming from peers rather than adults. I could see that. And I'll give my opinion after I'm done. Let's see. I got a little bit more. Where am I? The volunteers will be predominantly high school students, though some mature middle school students may be considered. The students must be in good academic standing. That's prejudice. Some mature middle school students? That's not fair. Anyways, the students must be in good academic standing. Guidance counselors will be able to recommend teenagers that have shown interest in criminal justice, law enforcement, or civic responsibility. Students who volunteer for the court will have a chance to learn more about the judicial system and will be able to develop their public speaking and persuasive argument skills. You manipulative son of a bitch. You've been doing this shit all your motherfucking life. Bitch, I might have. The students will have help from adult volunteers such as law students. One role on the court, the judge, is reserved for an adult. I mean, all right, come on. A volunteer attorney will serve as the judge and will sign off on the sanctions agreed upon by the jury. Interesting. Sanctions may include community service, workshops, or classes, or formal apology letters. It's a 4-page letter. I know I am an asshole, but here's my 4-page letter saying I'm not sorry for kicking your fucking ass and driving so fucking fast. In cases of vandalism, sanctions may also include restitution, so paying back, cleaning up, things of that nature, unclogging drains, detailing, using a toothbrush and cleaning the governor's mansion with a toothbrush. These kids who have done something minor, something wrong. Hold up. These kids who have done something minor or something wrong are going to make up for their indiscretions by making whole in their commitment to apologizing, making good on what they've done wrong. If the diversion program and sanctions are completed, the original charge is dismissed through court services. The youth court does not take the place of juvenile domestic relations court or specialized court. Those whose cases are selected to route through the program will be referred from sources such as the police department, the public school system, and the city's human services department. The youth court sessions will be held in the city-run community centers. They're slated to begin in mid to late June. The city received a state grant that will provide funding for a coordinated position for the first 18 months of the program. The city has also included funds for the program in its operating budget. I think that's interesting. I think it's very, very interesting. I think it's one way to keep pressure off of the judicial system. That's less responsibility for them. One, two, I think for the kids who do get in trouble, it's gonna hit different when you see, because the juries are randomly selected. It's gonna hit different when it's one of your classmates in your homeroom who's like one of the mature middle schoolers, and they're like, damn, he was driving fast and vandalizing. Like, that's my guy, but I'm not gonna vote or rule against him, but I might tell him about stuff like, man, you dead wrong for that. That's your reputation. And I know when you're younger, at least when I was younger, I wasn't thinking about my reputation. I mean, some things was innate because, I had older brothers. I had a couple street guys around me, and I watched them. And it was easy to stay out of trouble. It was easy to guard my reputation. It was easy. But everybody's not raised like that. Everybody's not blessed like that. Everybody doesn't have that innate radar to be able to pick up on what's right, what's wrong, what's morally sound, what's horseshit. And on top of that, we didn't have access to the internet like these kids do nowadays. Like, I'm not even trying to sound old. I might sound old, and I don't really give a shit. 30 going on 24. But I'm just saying, like, my generation of millennials, we're like the middle children of the millennials, because I'm 30. So the youngest millennial is 25. The oldest, I believe, is like 42. So we were the first to get cell phones. You dig? We were the first to, we were the last to really deal with landline phones. So with all that being said, these kids are exposed to a whole lot of craziness. Shit, even me. Hey, look, first time I ever seen somebody get decapitated was on IG, and it was crazy. I could barely stomach it. So, I think this is a good idea. I really do. Now, are they gonna be consistent with it, or are they really gonna be thorough with it? That case is still out to be solved and to go through. You don't know. I gotta stop saying because you don't know until I tell you, unless you do know. But I think it's a good idea. I think it's gonna put a lot of seeds and sparks in kids who may or may not have ever known what they wanted to do, or if they would have never did this, they may never have wanted to become a lawyer or a judge or be a main gadget in the whole scheme of the judicial system branch. So I think the energy is in a good place. Hopefully, it's not any full gaziness going on. I hope that the energies are right. I hope that the people who are conducting and coordinating this do what they're supposed to do. Because I think this could be a very, very good idea. It could be lucrative too. But you do it, I believe. Nah, I've never done anything like this. But I do know people, I know kids, and they need construction. They need something to do. And like being on your phone is cool, but man, you can do a lot with this. I believe you can do a lot with this. I believe whoever um put that idea out there, I believe that I don't know 'em, didn't research them, but I believe that their energies were flowing in the right direction. So hopefully everything lines up for them and that becomes a success and a lot of people are saved from themselves and destruction. Moving right along to the technology portion of the Mansion in the Sky podcast. Cause we global, baby. Yeah, hopefully you enjoying your stay in my mansion. All right. So the free speech search engine that never was. The right wing flocked to DuckDuckGo supposedly unbiased search results. Then it betrayed them. By Sarah Morrison. Coming to um coming to us from Vox.com. So just in case you want to go and you want to check back with this is Vox.com. Vox.com. All right, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to paraphrase. All right, a lot of tech companies have responded to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And by the way, the Mansion in the Sky podcast is a podcast that we can talk about anything. Um, the only reason that I will not be talking about politics on this particular podcast is because just making sure everything is doing what it's supposed to do is because politics is not really my thing. And the only reason it's not really my thing is because I'm not as well researched on politics as I need to be. So that's why I'm not going to speak on things that I don't really know or don't really understand as much as I understand people. I understand how money works. I understand power. I understand control. But I'm not going to speak on it. I would like for this podcast to do well. I'll go against the grain a little bit, but I would like for this podcast to do well. And I would like for the platform, or at least one of the platforms that I'm deciding to allow to host my content to leave me alone. Because I know how they get down. I already know how to get down. You know, some of my favorite people are content creators on YouTube, and they tell me the horse shit that goes on, and I get it. So, one, I'm going to stay consistent to who I always been. I don't speak on things that I don't really understand. But when I pull up these articles right here, we're learning together. And that's what the Mansion in the podcast, oh, I said Mansion in the podcast. The Mansion in the Sky podcast is about. We're really learning together. We're taking this journey together. This podcast is for people who are a couple of opportunities away from what they want out of this life. This podcast is for people who are dying to live, not people who are living to die. Nah, that's not a mansion in the sky mentality. That's not a mansion in the sky mindset. That's not how we live. That's not how we operate. You shouldn't operate like that. But you know what? That's just what it is. It is what it is. You don't know a man unless you live what he lived. I understand. But I made my choice not to think like that. My choice is to have a mansion in the sky podcast one, but mentality and mindset, and to stay envious. And not envious in the way that you think. Envious as in unconquerable and influential. That's how I choose to live. So anyways, I'm going to get through this article and close it up. A lot of tech companies have responded to the Russian invasion of Ukraine by restricting their services in or to the country. DuckDuckGo, the search engine that markets itself as a privacy-first alternative to Google, was no different. On March 9th, its CEO, Gabriel Weinberg, announced that it was going to downrank sites that spread Russian disinformation. And y'all should have left it on. Should have left it alone. And I get it. Man, I be understanding. I understand. I know it was a tough decision. Should have left it alone. Or at least shadow banned or something. I don't know. I'm not gonna speak on things that I don't understand. I don't know. Anyways, moving along. The response from many of its users, however, was different. While companies including Apple, Meta, formerly known as Facebook, Amazon, and Google, have largely been praised in the United States for pulling out of Russia, DuckDuckGo was attacked. Privacy is a human right and transcends politics. Weinberg tweeted. But DuckDuckGo, it turns out, does not transcend politics. It is yet, this is the person who wrote the article's opinion. It's yet another example. Hold on. Let me not say things that I don't know yet. It's yet another example of the impossible situation some platforms have found themselves in. It's a lose-lose situation. And I get it. I hope that this doesn't change how they decide to operate. By not taking a public stance against misinformation or content deemed to be harmful, DuckDuckGo was taking a stance. Many on the right adopted it as their pro-free speech search engine of choice. A mission DuckDuckGo never actually had, but had now. Somehow violated. DuckDuckGo was accused of betraying a user base it unintentionally cultivated but didn't exactly discourage. So, kind of like enabling. A little bit in a sense. Gotta make money somehow. Weinberg's tweet announcing the change generated thousands of comments, many of them from conservative-leaning users who were furious that the company they turned to in order to get away from perceived big tech censorship was now the one doing the censoring. It didn't help that the content DuckDuckGo was demoting and calling disinformation was Russia's state media, whose side some in the right-wing contingent of DuckDuckGo's users were firmly on. All right, we can get a little history on them. A little history. DuckDuckGo launched in 2008. By 2010, it latched on to privacy as the thing to differentiate it from its competitors. Google especially. It stopped tracking its users' search histories, and privacy advocates praised it. but DuckDuckGo grew slowly until about 2018 when it started growing very quickly. According to DuckDuckGo's own figures, annual search queries ballooned from 5.9 billion in 2017 to 35.3 billion last year. Goodness. By comparison, Google, by far the most used search engine, is believed to handle trillions of search inquiries a year. Google doesn't really. So DuckDuckGo is still a mere fraction of the search market, but it's also the second most used search engine in some places. And in late 2020, it raised $100 million from investors. Whoa. In recent years, it's expanded its privacy mission beyond search with a mobile browser app and plans to release a desktop version soon. What caused this sudden rise? Come on, man. That's obvious. We're in an artificial intelligent information age. That's what sparked that. Along with the advances of technology, I ain't reading from the article. Along with the advances with technology and the positive, everything about balance. So with that being said, you got the crooks on the other side who like, well, everybody doesn't know how to protect themselves. Everybody doesn't know how to put to man, I still don't shoot from yesterday. I still don't know what it is. But having two passwords on every account that you have, not having your account saved by Google or these websites, you know? If y'all hear my alarm go off, I'm up. I'm up right now. Late. It's like 2 in the morning. It is 2 in the morning. All right. What caused this sudden rise? There was a growing awareness about internet privacy during those years, which must have been a factor. But this time period also corresponds with an anti-big tech crusade many on the right took up as they believed they were being increasingly censored by big tech platforms. Perhaps part of DuckDuckGo's appeal to them was the privacy, but for many, the key reason was that they thought DuckDuckGo's search result were unbiased. Supposedly liberal Google was censoring supposedly conservative content, and supposedly DuckDuckGo wasn't. Right-wing publications and pundits heavily pushed DuckDuckGo too. The Federalists called DuckDuckGo a valuable replacement tool for Google, saying that Google hides conservative content, while a more organic DuckDuckGo search turns up a variety of viewpoints and ideologies. Joe Rogan announced that he was using DuckDuckGo to find information about vaccine-related injuries because he couldn't find it on Google. Candace Owens encouraged her fans to look up George Floyd on DuckDuckGo instead of Google, which she said was hiding the full truth about his alleged drug use. We know about George Floyd. That story ain't what media, that story ain't what they put it out there to be. Fox News noted back in 2018 that DuckDuckGo was gaining in popularity as Google faces questions about its practices. Duh. As recently as February 23, the New York Times pronounced DuckDuckGo to be the search engine for choice for conspiracy theorists. So, DuckDuckGo surely knew what many of its new fans were coming to it for. They leaned into it a bit too. Am I almost? Yeah, I ain't got that much left. I'm gonna read this whole thing, and I ain't gonna go too much longer. So DuckDuckGo surely knew what many of his fans were coming into it for. They leaned into it a bit too. Weinberg told Fox News and Quartz that Google's search results were biased because Google collects data on users, which it then uses to target results to them. That, he said, created filter bubbles that further polarized society. Because DuckDuckGo didn't collect data, its results were unbiased and searchers were free from Google's echo chamber. This was a bit of a dodge. Conservatives accuse Google of intentionally keeping conservative sites and content off of its results, not just returning results influenced by searchers' interests, but it was an answer that seemed to satisfy users of all political persuasions. Then came the Russian invasion. DuckDuckGo actually took action before most of its conservative fan base realized it did. A representative of the company told the House Committee on Energy and Commerce on March 1st that DuckDuckGo suspended its partnership with Yandex, a Russian search engine. But then Weinberg tweeted that he was sickened by Russia's actions and that DuckDuckGo was downranking Russians' disinformation. DuckDuckGone ugh, was then trending, and Tucker Carlson laminated that DuckDuckGo had joined the herd. I mean, you get $100 million from investors. Yeah, you're big business. Yeah, big business. Oh, yeah, and by the way, YouTube is a search engine, not a website. DuckDuckGo is supposed to be the free search engine that its entire point. Let's see. DuckDuckGo spokesperson. We just gonna say Cammy. I don't know how to say that name. Told Rico this web that the decision was simply about doing what a search engine is supposed to do, ensure that users were getting the best results for their searches. Sites like RT and Sputnik that deliberately put out false information to intentionally mislead people directly cut against that purpose, says Baz. Search engines, by definition, put relevant, higher quality sites over lower ones for every search. Amen. So how the music industry should be. But it's all about money. Get it? Makes sense. Unlike some of the other platforms that conservatives have flocked to, Gab, Getter, Parler, BitChute, and Locals, for instance, DuckDuckGo was created to be the right-wing big tech alternative, even if that became a reason why a lot of people started to use it. It's a position some of its similarly situated peers might find themselves in too, if they haven't already, like Rumble, Substack, MeWe, and Telegram are all platforms that didn't set out to cater to the right wing, only to find themselves embraced by it. It happens. You're gonna get placed somewhere. Let's see. So yeah, and it ended out, privacy is our top priority, not supporting any particular political or ideological point of view. This isn't censorship, it's just search rankings. So essentially shadow ban. They shadow ban Russian search engines and discontinued partnerships with Russian tech companies and conglomerates and things of that nature. And that's on them. They can do what they want to do. If they can afford to do that, then go for it. It didn't say where Mr. Weinberg is from, but that is either a Jewish or a German name, I want to say, or somewhere over in Europe, in the Eastern Hemisphere, but over in Europe. I use DuckDuckGo. I do like it. It's a smooth site. Very, very smooth site. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the quality that comes from it. Um, and I think more people should use it. Honestly, I really do think more people should use it. You get good results. You can do what you need to do, and it's only gonna grow. You know, just like every great anything great, it's always gonna come to an end. It's just what it is. Just like life. Life is amazing, but it's gonna come to an end. Right? Google gonna be here forever, but it's gonna be other alternatives that are gonna come up as well. Let's see. These phones, man, they be listening, they be talking. But anyways, I just want to put that out there for the people who need to know and need to understand. You don't gotta be uh the first in the race every single time. You don't have to do that. But you gotta at least have an idea of what's going on. And we're learning together. So, world, this the Don. This the Senator Smooth and Rude coming to you live from the 7-5. Why? Because we global, baby. Yeah. This the Mansion in the Sky podcast. And hopefully you've enjoyed your stay in my mansion. Till next time, signal out.